It's important for you as World Renewed Disaster Response volunteers to remember that loss is powerful anytime someone loses that which is precious to them. Sometimes the loss is a loved one through death. Other times it's their home, their job, their possessions, their neighborhood, their memories, their community. But under any circumstance, this level of loss provides you with a daunting support challenge. If you are volunteering for a role in which you have the blessing of getting to know your client, remember, they're never going to forget you. They're not going to forget that interaction, whether it was helpful and positive or otherwise. You'll never forget it either. So let's talk about some helpful ways you can support those you're serving. There are some do's, so do. Say, I am so sorry and I'm so sad with you. How can I help? Pray if welcomed. Be sensitive. People may resist praying with them, but people rarely refuse offers to pray for them. Do listen, accept, and validate. Listening is the most effective communication tool we have. There's tremendous power in strong, calm presence. Repeat what you hear from them and use their own words to demonstrate that you understand and you're empathetic. Acknowledge the losses they've experienced. Use the real words. For example, if the loss was a loved one, sometimes we tend to avoid the presence of death. It's just uncomfortable. But that gives it greater destructive power. Use the person's name and the word death. And then when possible, connect them with supports that are familiar, their friends, their family, their church, and other professional resources. It's okay for you to express your feelings. It's okay to cry. It's like you can actually provide comfort for others who see you as sympathetic and compassionate. But remember, this is about them, not about you. Be alert to the fact that this loss likely triggers grief reactions to previous losses or other times they felt helpless and powerless. There are more issues in the room than are readily apparent, and acknowledging this fact can be helpful. Move forward sensitively. People mourn differently. Some express feelings openly and get back to tasks quickly. Some may wish to be left alone. Now, there are also some things not to say. Sometimes it's tempting to rush to faith-driven explanations for seemingly senseless events, or in our own discomfort to offer quick platitudes. These are not helpful and may incite rage. There are no magic words that immediately take away pain. Trying to find them can be hurtful. So don't offer deep theological and philosophical explanations when somebody's not thinking clearly. Don't rush to defend God. They may be angry. Don't be defensive or argumentative. They're not at their best. Don't interrupt. Don't give advice or opinions in a patronizing, one-up way. And don't tell war stories or share your own personal stories of loss. This is about them. Now, although there may be truth or an element of truth in the following statements, timing is everything. These can be hurtful. You can agree with the person if they share them, but don't say these things as platitudes. God works all things together for good. Now, I believe that, but they're not ready to hear it. God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Doesn't feel like it. I know just how you feel. You may get punched in the nose. This is God's judgment. You reap what you sow. Sounds like Job's friend. This reminds me of the time God needed another flower in his garden. God loved them so much he couldn't wait. Wait a minute, that's my kid. I want him. God has made them an angel. God was saving them from a bad future. Really? Don't believe that, or don't feel that way, but I do. If you just had enough faith, don't be angry with God. I believe God can handle it. They're in a better place. I know they are, but I want them with me. Well, at least they're no longer suffering. That may be true. He wouldn't want you carrying on like this. Well, at least you have more children. Really? Now, although shared with good intentions, they're not likely to be well received. You don't have to say them. Remember, you cannot not communicate and that double negative was intentional. Your caring presence and practical help will express what words may fail to articulate, and your prayers will enhance the loving message. There's tremendous healing power in calm, strong presence. It's important to encourage your clients to take care of themselves. It may be awkward, but we talked about the physical, emotional, mental, and behavioral responses that people experience after a disaster. With good self-care, these response behaviors diminish over time. Remember, it's important that your clients don't panic about those reactions or they take on a life of themselves. It's important for you to assure them about how they're normal for what they're going through and feeling, and that those reactions will get better over time if they take care of themselves. Remember also that sometimes addressing self-care after the death of a loved one, for example, feels disrespectful or irreverent. And people may need permission to honor that person who died by pursuing self-care as well as life-giving activities that commemorate what the deceased valued and was known for. We honor them by moving forward. So when appropriate, encourage the clients to get proper sleep, rest, exercise, and nutrition, to spend time with supportive, good listeners, and to be intentional about that. If they participate in a religious faith, encourage them to seek out their faith leaders and to take time for prayer. Encourage them to do what they can do to stay involved in a regular schedule and familiar activities. Focus them on what they do have control over rather than what they don't, even if it's no-brainer concrete tasks. If you fall off a horse, get back on a pony as quick as possible. Caution them about drugs and alcohol because such substances interfere with healing and can make things worse. If they're concerned about the confidentiality of talking with family and friends, encourage them to reach out to professional resources such as clergy, medical, and behavioral health professionals. Now, this is all practical stuff you learned from your grandmas, not grad school. Remember, there's tremendous power in strong, calm presence. They need to know you care and that you're tough enough to handle it. Calm can be just as contagious as fear.